Good evening, hello, and welcome. I don't know why I'm in a circle in the middle here. Let me change that. Let me attempt to change that. What is going on? Am I still here? Yep, still here, still in the circle. Let's figure out what is going on here. There we go. That's a little bit better. There we go. Hi, my name is Inbaal. I'm a psychic, tarot reader, and witch, and I am joining you here tonight to have lots of psychic fun together. If you've got any questions that you'd like to ask, go right ahead and get involved. I was hoping to have our banners in a slightly purplier color. There we go. That's much better. We are on the Bigfoot Outlaw Network. This is an international channel that allows us to go live with you regularly. I deal with tarot, with witchcraft, crystal balls, if the opportunity arises. And we like to look at all sorts of different fun and interesting stories and situations that have to do with the mystical world. So if you'd like to get involved, do not be shy. We have a message from Grizzly Chris, who runs the channel, and he says, you can support me by sending stars. Stars help me earn money to make more content. And we've got Robert here saying, I'm here and ready. Hello, hello. Great to see you. Didn't we have the best time? We've got Saddam saying hi to you. And we've got Z Khan saying, how's it going? It's going great. Thank you so much for joining. Kim Princess is saying hi, everyone. And Jonathan is coming in with all the drama saying, notice me, please. That's a fabulous start, strong start. Rob says, okay, I just need you to know that my pot of garlic oily olives leaked all over my shopping in the bag, so I had to throw stuffs away. And now I just spilled rice everywhere. Okay, calm. That sounds the worst. That sounds the worst. I really, really hope that you manage to clean everything because oil is not forgiving. Jonathan says, hi, please. Dal says, hi to all. Hello to all. Hi, hi, hi. And Kathy is here joining us saying, good evening, everyone. Exciting to hear from all of you. We have quite a few new faces. Chanda, I think, is saying hi. Rob says, we have the best time, maybe best day of my life, maybe second best. It's defo up there. Yes. So what you guys might not know is that on Saturday, me and Rob were painting Witchfest red. We went to Witchfest. We went to talks. I haven't been to Witchfest talks except for the ones I give in literal generations. I have often come to Witchfest just to sort of hang around with the witches. So Rob was going to talk, so I was coming along, and it was fabulous. It was fabulous, wasn't it? All the talks were so good, and really the only awful thing is that there were so many talks on at the same time, so we couldn't get to all of them, but it was absolutely the best. What did I get? I got a whole bunch of incenses. Sorry, I've got a whole bunch of incenses. It was good for witchy shopping. Oh, so good. A whole bunch of incenses. I got some essential oils, like aromatherapy oils that are meant to be good for dreaming. and I have had the weirdest dreams. And because I share a bed with my husband, who did not realize that I'm going to be using aromatherapy oils to give me better dreams, he's been having crazy dreams. And I got, of course, Laura's Book of Runes. So this is Laura Daligan's Guide to Reading the Runes. It is now, I lost a bookmark. It is now signed. This is my name in runic script. This is her name in runic script. So yeah, it was really, really the best day. It was the best day. It was incredible. So much the better, so much more fun because I got to spend it with Rob. So it was the best little witchy date, wasn't it? And I also bumped into loads of people that I haven't seen in a very, 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 very insanely long time, and also got to meet some new people, new witches, which rarely happens, mostly thanks to Rob, who knows everybody. Roger is saying howdy. Howdy to you too. Jonathan says, hi, everyone should subscribe to you. Everybody should subscribe. That is very, very true. So at the moment, I'm broadcasting on 2 YouTube channels. We are on the Bigfoot Outlaw YouTube channel, and we're on the Inbaal Psychic YouTube channel. We've got both of them, and we're on 3 Facebook channels. We're in the Inbaal Psychic Facebook channel, the Bigfoot Outlaw Facebook channel, and the Grizzly, I think Grizzly Facebook channel. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Twitch, and we're also on my Instagram. So subscribe to whichever one you like the best, but definitely the YouTube. And oh, look how sweet. Rob says, hello, everyone. Hi to needy Jonathan, especially. Maybe he's not needy, maybe he's just wanty. Tim is greeting everyone, saying hello all. Hi, Tim. Wonderful to hear from you. Rob says, yes, we definitely needed to rearrange the schedule to our own personal needs, but I suppose we can't have it all. Do you know, I really think that Witchfest would have been just as successful if it only had one talk per hour, because I've never heard anybody sort of say, oh, there's not enough talks at Witchfest. It's always like, there's lots of talks. And Rob says, we also managed to get signed copies of Laura's book right before it sold out, may I add. Kim is joining us on the Crazy Dream train. She says, I've been having crazy dreams. What was in your crazy dreams? So I had this one crazy dream where I had to sort of message my best friend from growing up to tell her I dreamt about her, and she knows I rarely dream, and I certainly haven't dreamt about her since like January, February. But yeah, I'm not going to read you the message because it's in Hebrew, but I'm going to tell you what the message I sent her at like 7 a.m. says. Gosh, I sent too many messages. Yeah. So I got to her in the morning and I said, good morning, you were in my dream. In the dream, I did something with somebody who was a friend of Karen. Karen is somebody that was a good friend of us at school, and they're about to meet up. So I joined and Karen brought you. The other girl I lost on the way, but you and me and Karen, a few of the children, stayed together, and there were like street performances and music, and it was lots of fun. What a nice dream. How are you? That's me at 7:15 in the morning. Words. How are you? So yeah, tell me your dream. Oh, Aisha is here. Hi, Aisha. I know that the other time you sent a question was a little bit too late, so please do not hold back. If you've got a question, let's go for it. Michelle is saying, hello, Inbaal. Mwah. Hello, Michelle. Amazing to hear from you. Thank you. I'm just scrolling back to see if I haven't missed any messages. She says, "Oh, Aisha says you're amazing. Miss you every time. Thank you. Um, Good and happy to see you. Give so positive vibes. Thank you, Aisha. I do my best. I do my best." Sandy says, "Hello and well blessings to all in chat. Thank you." At the moment, I don't know if you realized or not, but we're actually broadcasting separately on the YouTube channels. So you get like a portrait broadcast like regular YouTube across, but you also have a vertical, like a sorry, that's landscape. You also get like a portrait broadcast, and they are in fact different. So if you're not seeing all the friends that you're usually seeing at the bottom of the screen, it might be that they're on the same channel but on the different format broadcast. Did that make sense? Does that make sense? um Michelle, my sorry, my screen just jumped. There we go. Michelle says, "Hello to everyone in the chat. I love it that you guys are friends and that you greet each other." Um, Roger says, "Howdy and Val, Kathy, Michelle, and everyone." I love that you've always got like the little Stetson emoji as well. So it puts an accent in my ear. Aisha's got a little question. She says, "What do you see Ahmad Azim think and love about me? I feel the little emotional disconnection." Let's have a look whether it's a disconnect or whether it's your anxiety that makes you think, "Oh no, he can't possibly like me," because sometimes I think, we can imagine that things are actually much worse than what they are. So, what does Ahmad think and love about you? I'll tell you, he loves how spiritual you are because he's a little bit like that as well. Like, he's traditional, but even within being traditional, he prefers to do things like a little bit different, a little bit folklore, a little bit like wise woman. So he likes it that you're like that as well, that you know a whole bunch of stuff that other people don't know. What he likes about you is how you're like cool with everybody. So you're not like particular rich people, poor people, you're cool with everybody, which he finds like a really attractive quality. And what he thinks about you is that you would be a good investment for the future. So is he looking for a wife? Yes. Is he ready to settle down? No. And that's the disconnect you're feeling. He would like for you or for somebody exactly like you to be, like his special someone. But he's not ready to settle down with that special someone yet. And that's the misalignment that you're sensing. Let me know if that makes sense. Let's see who else is here, who else has been having crazy dreams, and who else has been to Witchfest. Um, Michelle is greeting Roger. Tim says, "I've had experience with bad witches that felt me near and tried to send something at me. I sent it back." You should be teaching people to do exactly that. That is the best thing you can do. So when I was like a young witchlet, I learned actually from that best friend that had the dream about her. I learned from her to visualize like a pillar going all through me, like if I'm standing up, a single pillar going all through me from the head to toes. And that pillar is all silvery as it is surrounded. And that pillar is silvery, kind of like a disco ball. And so when you've got that reflective element inside you, you feel as if, or whatever anybody sends at you, you're sending it back to them. Right? So that's exactly what you're describing. And yes, if anyone comes at you with like a psychic attack, then absolutely sending it back, I think, is entirely the right thing to do. I don't feel like it's bad karma, because if they were trying to send that to you, then obviously sending it back is, equal, equal at the least. Katie says, "Good evening to you all. Dream is but a life." I guess so. So amazing. Kim says, "Dreams where I see a whale biting someone's head. I'm deathly afraid of whales. I dream of them in the swimming pool sometimes, trying to trick me to go in. Scares me. I hate it. I do not like scary dreams. And I'm curious where that fear of whales had come from, if it's an image that you saw when you were young, or if it's like a past life memory, which I think, is also entirely possible. But you're seeing the actual attack, or or a planned attack. And dreams of attack are generally, obviously, anxiety dreams. So fears that you're feeling in your day-to-day life become scary dreams, so that you replay that feeling of fear again in your dream. So obviously it doesn't mean that any whales will come to get you. And also, I'm not really seeing it as like a fear of water or anything, because it's a very specific water scenario. It's not like a like a general, like a generic. But I would say that these are your daytime anxieties kind of playing out in the dream space. Let me know if it makes sense. Sarah is here. Good evening, Sarah. I'm trying to think how to say good evening in Italian. Am I stuck on it? Buona. I know it's buenos tardes in Spanish. What am I missing? What is evening? No, I'm stuck. Help me. Saying, "Adorable witch woman, miss you so much. When are you coming to London again?" So I was just on the outskirts of London on Saturday. I went to Witchfest. It was amazing. And it was in Kempton Park Racecourse. So it was kind of near to Feltham, near to Kingston, very, very south. Katie says, "Amazing energy." I'd say naturally, yeah, humans are humans. Brilliant. Tim says, "I seen a ritual of a grown-up wearing a skull with horns and black robe, and a boy and a girl holding the hands of the skull person. They were wearing white robes, and I witnessed it as they walked to the woods. After that, they sent something at me. They didn't know me." Maybe what they had was just a general protection that was supposed to sort of keep them safe as they were walking in sort of quite an obvious way. I'll tell you, when I used to sort of go out and about sort of doing outdoor rituals, we would be like dead subtle. Like it was so, crucial that nobody notices us, that nobody follows us into the woods, that nobody comes and, checks our trunk. And sometimes they do, people that check trunks anyway. So you've got to be prepared with explaining what you do and stuff. So if you've got like skull and youngsters, that is just a little bit obvious. I would assume that they would have had protections around them from before they left the house. And you might have just sort of tripped up on their, on their defenses if they were trying to keep themselves safe. Oh, Sandy gives me very interesting information I didn't know, saying, "Yes, I got notified twice." So yeah, that's because we've got the broadcast going out this way and that way, and they look slightly different, and they literally sort of broadcast on two different not channels, on two different separate broadcasts. Robert says, I will defo taking a reading. Let's do it. What do you see for me after a very special day? Anything changing course? Anything suddenly clearer? Let's see. I might need for the retrograde to be over before anything is clearer, but let's see what direction. Yeah. Yeah. So things are changing course in a really radical way. Don't be surprised if things change massively, even at work and even at home, so that in 3 months' time, and certainly in 6 months' time, your life is not at all the way it is right now. It's showing passion coming in, which is always fun to see. And it says that your luck has really sort of veered pretty seriously to the left. So I can't wait to hear all about the changes. Daldal says, see a move for me in the near future, please and thank you. Let's see. A move for you in the near future or not so. The opportunity will be there. It'll be your call whether you grab the opportunity or not, but the opportunity for a move is coming in the very near future within about 8 weeks. You will be offered something. Tim, Tim says, will you read my cards, please? Let's have a little look, Tim. Amazing. Little card reading for Tim. Right. So it shows that you're in a quandary. You're trying to decide whether you want to live the life creative or whether you want to live the life materialistic. And you're not really sure what the answer is. The best answer is why not both? Why not both? You can be creative and, still do all right financially. You don't have to compromise. But yeah, it says that you're trying to choose which path is your path. And both choices are fine, but the act of having to choose is becoming very, very frustrating for you. It's best if you just choose one and not worry too much about it rather than think and overthink. Sandy says, blessings to all in second chat. Blessings to all this. Well, there's multiple chats going on. Aisha's asking another question, but, I think the one question is great. And Limelight of Dawn is saying, hi, Inbaal, I loved your talk at Witchfest. I've used your affirmation advice over the past few days and it has really helped. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's so kind of you. That's really, really, really lovely to find out, because I come out of a talk and I think, man, my talk was the worst one here. And it still might have been, but I'm really, really pleased it worked for you. To be fair, I mean, Rob saw it. There were people sort of coming up to me, sort of saying, it was so good, it was so moving, and that was, it was a lot of lovely feedback. Rob is welcoming Sandy. Aisha's asking another question, but yeah, I think one is enough, really. So Katie says, live in the moment, love each moment, and know all is perfectly divine when aligned, as accepting such ways we usually never expect, I've noticed, is how things end up. I 100% subscribe to that. I think that in sort of loving what you have means that you'll also have what you love. And if you're thankful to what you already have, if you're not ungrateful for what you already have, then I think you've got better chances of manifesting exactly the things that you'd like to have, moving forward. Sandy is saying, hi, Rob. Hi, hi, hi. And Katie very kindly saying, blessings always. Thank you. Mwah. Kim says, silver pillar going in now. 100%. I am so careful with my magics, because I never want to like condemn myself or to accidentally attract anything negative. But I think something like mirroring, and just sort of returning something to sender is really like ethically fine, karmically on the ball. Do you know what I mean? Sandy is leading in with some hardcore stuff, saying broken mirror in a witch's bottle. Yeah. A mirror can only reflect what is directed at it. So a broken mirror kind of confuses the spirits. Everything in a witch's bottle is meant to kind of confuse the spirits, but it does the job. It does the right job. Kim says, I once had a dream my child was falling into a whale's mouth. That is such an interesting representation. Oh, and look. Rob says, Jonah and the whale comes to mind with this whale dream, as does Sedna. Interesting. So I don't know Sedna, but Jonah and the whale is a biblical story where Jonah was eaten by a whale himself. That is the hero. Oh, Kim is helping me with my Italian. Thank you. Buonasera. Yeah, thank you. I could not remember it. Daldal says, wells are also life cycles. Oh, that is interesting. So I wonder what is sort of so terrifying in that. Katie says, I've had odd dreams with political people, and as having such people in the two dreams as the last one, a high-profile political person gave me a wink and unsure how to take it, yet not scary or off. I think the wink is kind of cheeky. A wink is something that you give to someone in the know. So if you've been, I don't know, maybe trying to decide who to vote for, maybe trying to decide who's telling the truth and who's lying, the person who gave you the wink might be giving you a clue. I was going to make a joke and say they're all lying, but then I don't really want to, make everybody feel negative about the political process, because, as long as we get a vote, at least we've got that. Katie says, was off, but not in a weird way, far back in chat. Yeah, it takes me a while to sort of catch up with everything. Tim is saying about the witch scene that he's noticed. I wasn't supposed to see it. It was down a dead end road. Still so. I think that anyone sort of coming out of the house, especially in full witch regalia, would, as standard, have some protections around them. So you'd have no choice but to walk right into their defenses. There we go. Katie says, I agree with that. Sounds the same feeling. It's so weird when that occurs. Though mine, I wasn't seen, yet so many years, and oddly, a freaking political person again, related to the other in first. That is interesting. And we've got Donna Do's Tips saying hi. Rob says, thank you for my reading. Amazing. I'm excited. Tim says, because I have memory from heaven. Yes, material or spirit. Absolutely. I think it's entirely possible to remember things and to then kind of invoke this, this lifetime. Katie says, this is so resonating to my wanderings now, yet having to make a choice. I wish the best, as I know it relates and not always easy. Not always easy, but see if you can think what a wink means to you. Does a wink mean manipulation, or does a wink mean that you're aligned? And then interpret your dream, on the basis of the answer to that question. Rob says, Yeah. Oh, very sweet. Yes, people defo would have booked their tickets, especially for you. I wouldn't have been there if not for you. Thank you so much. That's very, very sweet. Obviously, my brain is like, well, that's one person. But I don't want to be sort of negative about it. Um, Gabby Valentina says, "Do you see if there is still a chance for me and a guy I'm in love with getting back together?" Let's have a look, Gabby. Is there still a chance? Or are all the chances over? There is still a chance. It says that in order for that to happen, conditions have to be exactly how those conditions were when you were together. What I mean by that is that if at the time both of you were living in the same town, then in order for it to happen again, you'd both be needing to live in the same town again. It means that if you used to work next to each other, then in order for it to happen again, you need to work next to each other. Whatever conditions were the first time around, those conditions are necessary for it to happen the second time around. Katie says, my friend's cultural belief he would drop lots of cereal or something, as if they had OCD and have to count and kept them distracted. That's really interesting. Oh, that's really, really fascinating. Lisa is here. Shalom, Lisa. Amazing. Saying, dear Inbaal, nice to see you live. Great to see you too. Do you use the runes in your readings? Not as much. So, my good friend Laura has published a book about the runes that is so good. It goes through all the sort of history and the poetry and everything. It's amazing. I use the runes for magic. So I will take a candle. For example, I was going to demonstrate with a candle. I need to stretch a bit. And then if I had matches, which I do, but not here, I will use the back of the match to scratch runic symbols into the candle, and then that makes it a magic candle. So, for example, if I wanted more courage, then I would scratch in this shape. No, how can I show it? The one that stands like this. I would scratch it in there. If I wanted joy, I would scratch in the one that looks like a P. So I use the runic symbols primarily for magic. Oh, I think I might have an example here that I made for a client a long time ago. So I'll put the runic symbols together to create her. I'm folding it so that her name doesn't show. This is actually her ruling planet. So that's Jupiter. And then that's the rune that I picked for her. I've got a talisman here, and that is her sigil. So I use runes for that, for manifesting, not so much for readings. I can't read them. But yeah, very, very recommend Laura's book. Katie says whales are sea giants, and she elaborates, beautiful sea giants. Tim says the poltergeist activity happened after I caught moon and star beads down from behind the carport, black and red. Very interesting. Katie says, yes, the wink was from a political person. Interesting, interesting. And Gabby says, okay, this is good. What does it mean to see a brown horse in my dream? So I feel that the symbolism of a horse is power, strength, speed. The horse is sort of more of a work animal. And so it might show to you that you are very capable if you feel like the horse relates to you, or it might show that changes are coming, that somebody who is creating change is coming. Generally, in the tarot, for example, the horses are associated with the knights, and the knights are masculine characters, like youthful masculine characters that are capable of change, that are about to undergo change. So it depends what the horse represented in the dream, what they were doing. Was the horse standing still? Was the horse galloping across? And also, you want to relate to how you felt when you saw the horse in your dream. Were you frightened? Were you excited? And so on. Um, Katie says, what's the feeling as why you didn't say names? She says, not being a dream, I'd be blessing the entire area in any ways possible and not go near. Um, and she goes, it is creepy. Um, Katie says it was not readable and a clue I need unbiased, no names help. You can feel the wink. Um, Rob says, are these new owls or did you move them when dusted your dusty books? Yeah, so um, the owls were primarily in two main areas. They were at the top of this bookcase, and they were in a little shelving unit of their own, like a mini shelving unit for miniatures. So when I dusted everything, I pulled out like similar ones and sorted them out in little families. So you see that these two, see that they're family. These three, and there's another two there, are the bluey ones. So they're together, but they didn't look nice as a five. So I did like 3 and 2. And here's a couple of stone ones. And then over there, I put like 3 silvery metal ones together and 5 wooden ones together. So yeah, I spread them out a little bit more because having them all together, they were looking a little crowded, but it was necessary when the children were small and would, obviously destroy everything. Now that the children do not care about what we've got on the shelves because 2 of them have phones and a third one coming up Christmas, then we can decorate a little bit more. So we've got those bookends. They've got their little space as well. And, I think that's what I've got here in front of me. And then there's still like a lot on the top of the shelf. There's still a lot in the little shelving unit. And a few ended up on the floor. And actually sort of 2 metallic kind of coppery ones over there. So yeah, we spread them around. Not the first to say, and sometimes it's a life changer, says Katie. Rob says, me, my calm, my crazy, and everything else are at least 5 of us in here. Thank you very much. Still not enough. Katie says, Fehu, the only name spelled wrong, probably. I remember. No, Fehu is like a line with the 2 prongs. I meant the line with the 2 prongs, one on each side. Katie says, leave it just up your area. And Tim says, what is the vision of levitation with lightning emitting from hands and eyes? That's very interesting. So levitating is something that I really relate to because I remember having a lot of experiences, dreams of levitating. And I think that kind of astral projection just is simply a way of getting around, of traveling when you're on the astral plane, like how spirits do it, like how ghosts do it. The lightning, I think, is just a visual representation of, for example, healing abilities, magical abilities. And so it's really just traveling on the astral, being as your kind of your full self. Katie says, as many uses as well as the bond. Right, yeah. So the brown horse, stable, free, and beautiful. Yes, very true. Daldal says, what's the difference with witches and tarot readings? And you get the same results. So witches and readers are kind of two sides of the same coin. Witches make things happen. Tarot readers predict things that will happen. So you can be both. You can be both. You know, you're likely to be both, but they're two kind of very distinct groups. So there's a lot of crossover, but what witches do and what tarot readers do is sort of not the same at all. Witches create the future, so that's like bakers, you know, making the cake. Tarot readers predict the future, they view the future, so I guess they're like cake influencers, just sort of make make the simile. Rob says, lovely owls doing their owly thing. I could hear one about an hour ago hooting away. Yeah, we've got a lot of hooting going on. There was actually a hooting so loud and so weird outside last night, the night before, that it really alarmed me because our road is so quiet. So Gabby's giving us more context about her dream. She says, the horse was just coming out of a truck and I was fascinated to see it and I woke up immediately. So this coming out of a truck might have been more like the majestic aspect of it, that it was like, you know, so impressive and so exciting for you to see. So there is like a great majesty in the horse. Katie says, can you please see what's felt from you as the wink and now so many huge known people, and what are meant by the wink as clue needed? Yes, I am unsure. Can you please see what you feel? Let's have a look what the meaning was of that wink. It looks like the wink was correct at the time and is not right. It doesn't apply anymore. At the time, you thought you knew something about that person, not because it was in the headlines or not because anyone told you, but because you had a feeling. And when that person came to you in a dream and winked at you, what they were saying is, your feeling is right. You got me. That's what it says. The wink said, you got me. You get it. Tim says, I literally grow so angry the way people are treated. Anger and energy builds so much, is trying to escape out of my eyes and hands as I rise to the sky with such anger and love towards all. It's not good after that, like the end or second coming. It's crazy. I avoid that dream memory. I don't know. It has to be a dream. Strange either way. It can be a dream or a memory, you know, or both. But it's interesting that you transmute the emotion of anger into this creativity. And I'm seeing it really as the positive. Do you know what I mean? That if you're processing those very difficult emotions in dream time, then you don't have to carry the anger into your day-to-day dealings. To me, it sounds like a very healthy way of processing anger or, you know, anything like that. Kim says, I dream I'm flying all the time. Exactly. I did too. I do too. So I really think that it's just, you know, a different way of astrally traveling. I'm pleased that we're not alone. Katie says, if just a reading because learned versus read intuitively, go for both. go for both. It's great to learn. It's always fun to learn. It's good, stimulating for your brain. But at the end of the day, you won't always be reading by the book. Sooner or later, your intuition will push the book to one side, and your intuition will be like, "I have arrived. Let's do it my way." And she completes it saying, "Doctrinated versus pure knowing." I want to go writing. Maybe if you do, will help. So I don't think learning and intuition, that there needs to be a choice, do both. Lisa says, thank you for sharing us your candle affirmations. Shalom, good night. Great to see you on here. Amazing. Thank you so much for visiting. I'll tell the relatives. Sandy says, is all we seem or seem to see a dream within a dream, by Edgar Allan Poe. Blessings all. Thank you, Sandy. That is gorgeous. Dada says, I was taught witches were very negative influences. Thanks for the explanation. Just like in anything in life, you get good witches and bad witches. But the act of witchcraft, the act of creating something on a metaphysical level, that act is neither good nor bad. The people that practice it could be good, could be bad. Most of my friends are good witches. Most of the people I know are good witches, but I am sure that bad ones exist. Katie says he was in the first of the two dreams. The second ended with just him walking away into the darkness with a wink, as if all will be okay. Yet mysterious indeed. Thanks. Thank you for your input. You're very, very welcome. Tim says, yes, love too much, it is anger, because both are in transition. Hopefully, love and anger don't have to be in transition. They can both be fixated, which again is not great. So the transition is sort of really a positive. And I've got the message from Tim, who says, my aunts were into Ramtha and runes. Yeah. So the runes are more of a Scandinavian, like a Norse way of reading, but I think it was like relatively popular in the last maybe 20, 30 years. Katie says, I'm good in the rain, so good witch. Rob says, Dada, I suppose as well what one considers witchcraft. Lots of different kinds of magic out there. A lot of people do things without realizing it's witchcraft. Crystal grids, for instance. Yes, and I think there's also like the action of witchcraft, the action of creating something metaphysically, and also there would be the whole religion of witchcraft, the belief system that goes around it, the faith that goes around it. So, just like any other religion, belief system, just like any other practice, you've got your goodies and you've got your baddies, just like you can't say about any religion that everybody that follows it is negative, that everybody that follows it is positive, because it's up to how the person interprets it. And even within, I think, any creative field, you can't have like all dancers are good or all dancers are bad. Katie says, every stone wall we know was built by is an ancient ritual. So I really think that, like you, I think any creative act is kind of its own ritual. Anything is like a spell, and Katie adds, or gardens, etc. So yeah, I think that's really, really true, that there is magic in the simple things. Tim is giving us another distinction, saying tools are used: white candle flame, incense, the word. Yeah, I love that you added the word, because that would be a tool as well, even though that tool is not seen, it's not carried. It's much easier to hide if somebody's, going through your boot. And Katie says, they hold secrets. They do. I'm going to start winding down. I think we had a beautiful chat today. I enjoyed it so much. It was lovely to reminisce about Witchfest, which I think I'll be reminiscing about for a long, long time now. It was so much fun. I'm going to be here same time next week. And if you want to catch up on Thursday, I'm going to be broadcasting at the lunchtime with Laura Daligan herself, author of A Guide to Reading the Runes. So thank you so much for spending this time with me. It was fabulous. And I hope to see you again very, very soon. Thank you.